Do it. Do it. Come on, kill me. I'm here. Come on, do it now. Kill me.
Schwartzy, the podcast. It's a Schwartzy show.
I'm Malenko.
And I'm Alex.
Nice to meet you.
Today's episode is Red Sonja.
Mm-hmm.
This movie's directed by Robert Fleischer again.
Richard Fleischer.
This movie's directed by Richard Fleischer.
Robert Fleischer again.
This movie's directed by Robert Fleischer again. I mean, is he a good director? Has he directed anything else?
I mean, yeah, like he's directed he directed Soylent Green, which I really liked. I don't know.
Soylent
Like
Green.
I think Soylent Green is a good movie.
Soylent Green is made of people.
Soylent Green is made out of people.
Yeah, but not just that, dude. Like, I really like this movie. I really like this movie.
You know
I
what?
like this movie so much, dude. Plus, he directed 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the one with
Not a whale of a tale to tell you lies.
a whale of a tail, looking like a whale of a tail or two.
Yeah, he directed the Kirk Douglas 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm liking this guy more and more. Okay.
Those are amazing movies, but also, I really fucking like this movie so much.
Okay, let's talk about this movie. Right away, we get an opening sequence with beautiful mountains and this horrible text, this horrible yellow text that shows up on the screen. And you're just like, all right, Red Sonja, she lived in a savage time. She was known for her red hair, and she went on a quest for justice, and she became a legend. And this is how the legend began.
Which is it's basically just Conan. So much of it is just Conan,
Dude,
Also, it's just like basically it's apparently set in the same like expanded universe of Conan. Also, just as just to get it out of the way, as like a how did you guess?
How did you guess?
That was going to be my how did you guess,
Yeah.
too, is that this movie is a spiritual sequel, actual spiritual sequel.
Not
to-
even, dude. Apparently, I read somewhere. Fuck, it must have been like IMDb or something. But what's Conan? What's I was about to say
Kilgore or Kilgon?
No. Calidor, which is a cool name.
That is a cool
It is a
name.
cool name.
You know what I
Apparently, like Conan goes by different names.
Fan theories
Yeah,
of
for sure.
it's his,
Which I'm cool with.
I heard
I'm
it was
totally cool with.
his traveling name. You know what? I'm willing to accept this movie as a spiritual sequel to the second one. It's way better.
It's so much better.
so
Just
much better than Conan the Destroyer. It opens up on Sonja lying down on the ground. A house is burning. And we open up with a voice, a mysterious voice that calls out to her and tells her that despite, having fallen on hard times, that she will have vengeance against someone named Queen Gedrin. And we find out that Queen Gedrin wanted to form some sort of sexual relationship with Sonja. Is that
What? What? What are you talking about?
you don't?
No, I didn't realize it. I mean, like at the end, kind of. I thought they were. I guess so. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
It's implied that Gedrin, she tries to touch or desire Sonja sexually, and then it's said that Sonja was disgusted by these advances, and then she scratches her face and like gives her that permanent scar, to which the queen responds by getting really mad, burning her house down and killing her whole family, and having her soldiers violate Sonja, rape Sonja.
Right. Outrageous. I did not get any of that. Maybe I just wasn't listening. Anyway, go ahead.
So we get the gash on the queen's face, and the homophobia is matched only by the casual misogyny, where this is intense.
I didn't feel like this movie was that misogynistic.
No, it's interesting. I do think that there's a way in which it's kind of like male gaze satisfying. Like it's like, oh, she's a lesbian, but she's evil because she's a lesbian, and Sonja's really hot. And I
didn't even because I didn't get that part of the lesbian undertone, which I genuinely shocked. I guess like with that, I guess, yeah, like contextually, but like I didn't get that at all.
Interesting.
I like, for me, it was just like shit was just happening, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And like the sort of disembodied voice.
Sonja.
I was not down with the disembodied voice.
Well,
like again, so much of it like reminded me of like stuff that I was like not down with in Conan, that I was like, I'm not down with this.
It's revealed to Sonja by the speaking angel that she's going to be granted sword powers. And with a ghost sword, she's anointed sword powers and disappears. Sonja spreads her arms, and then this really crappy crimson red font shows up. And it's like, okay, it says Red Sonja. I get it. It's red. But Sonja's like, she's like, you know, redheaded, which is really more of a like orangey tone. Like,
But
I
also-
didn't think this crimson red was appropriate.
Can I just say though, her fucking amazing mullet in this movie?
Oh my god.
Let the mullet shine.
It was so cool. I was like, whoa, dude, fully a mullet.
I love this choice. Like, it's like business a lot in the front.
Yeah,
like, it's only just, it's almost rat tail territory.
Yeah, I'm so down.
A rat tail.
I'm so down.
Well, okay, so one way in which this movie is not feminist is that Schwartzy, not the main character of this
top
movie,
billing?
gets top billing with fine. Brigitte Nielsen gets a like introducing credit, which is, you know, like a strong with or and, you know, the with or and credits.
Totally.
Introducing is the best kind, and I wanted to talk about this, except for if it's like introducing, but you've never heard of the anything else the person's been in.
Can I tell you a funny little how did you guess for this?
How did you guess?
Sure.
Okay, so Dina De Laurentiis basically told Schwartzy, like, it's a glorified cameo. Like, it's fine. And then 4 weeks later, he's like, what is this? Like, why am I here? Like, and then later on found out that he was just like expanded to a secondary role.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Schwartzy ended his 10-year contract with him so that he didn't have to work with him again.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. At around the 3-minute mark, we see Schwartzy riding a horse. And it's at this point, you know, we've seen him a bunch of times like this. Like, I was a little bit like, okay, like this is the third movie like this. I was like, all right, I'm ready to move on. Like, I don't need this Schwartzy anymore.
I was super down, dude. Immediately. I was like, all right, like, cool. Because like he feels different in this movie than Destroy. This feels actually more like a proper sequel to, like, it feels lesser than still than Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
But like really truly feels like, oh, okay, like we're in serious territory. Cause he's like not wacky in this. There's
That's true.
wacky moments.
Yeah. Such wacky
that fit
that
with the
fit.
movie.
They do fit. And it does get wackier as we go.
Yeah.
As we go, it gets wackier. So Schwartzy arrives at, like, is this a cut down rope bridge that he's arrived at? Like, is that what we're supposed to be led to?
I think so.
To be believing? Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
They cut to this ceremony in this cylindrical temple. I love this. This was like really cool looking. There are many women in an elaborate circle in like white and gold headdresses, and the costuming I thought was really cool here.
It seemed to have like a way bigger budget than Conan the Destroyer, but also it seemed to play off those same scenes that we saw, like almost like proto scenes for this movie,
Right.
Like the sort of temple-y stuff, the like circular like imagery or like octagonal imagery or whatever. Like the cultish imagery, and it seemed to fit in this world way better and also fit way more with a fucking bigger budget.
Well, and like way less matte paintings too, right? A lot of it was like there was really stuff there. It
Yeah,
looked
there was
for
like
me
practical
anyway.
stuff, yeah.
So we're introduced to someone named Vama, is it? We later find out that Vama or Varna, what was her name again? The sister?
Oh, yeah, it's Varna. Yeah.
So we were introduced to Varna, who's cool. And she's talking to this, I guess, queen or priestess who's like the guardian of this talisman. We find out that they're doing a ceremony to destroy this talisman because it is an object that has great power to... Like, they never really explain what it really does. It just kind of creates storms and earthquakes. And somehow that allows her to have a lot of power because she can, I guess, destroy people's cities.
Yeah, I guess like the implication, I mean, from what I understood, the implication was that like she could go from place to place and cause chaos and like take over those places. Like, I guess like somehow harness the power of like nature, like the destructive power of nature or whatever.
Right, that makes sense.
Yes, makes sense.
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying.
Whatever, it's still cool. I just thought it was cool.
It totally is still cool. The talisman is this green glowing thing.
Orb.
Oh, I loved it.
Shit that we would have just like ate up as kids.
Oh,
if we
I'm eating it up right now.
So eat it.
The priestess says that the talisman has gotten too powerful and that they need to contain it. And she basically turns a lever and this metal enclosure starts to form around or like close in around the talisman. And as this thing is, ramping up slowly and closing, the guards of Queen Gedron surround this temple and they start this epic fight. And it's mostly men on the Queen Gedron side fighting mostly women on this like priestess side.
Like the fighting and the choreography in this movie, despite being kind of clunky, was like interesting to watch, and people felt like they were, I don't know, real people fighting other real people.
You're right. This fight scene is pretty cool. Like they are at one point overpowering the guards and kind of
fighting back.
Sending them out of the gate. They're like winning the fight at one point until they get overwhelmed, and it's a slaughterhouse. They like kill everyone.
Varna escapes, and then fucking Gedron just starts like throwing women in the fucking hole that they were gonna destroy the talisman in. Like viciousness in a cool way, shown in a cool way, in a different way than even Thulsa Doom, which was just like one person kill, and that showed everything. This was like, whoa, dude, like, let's just murder them and throw them down this hole. And it was like they just showed them do it. It was so crazy.
The evil soldiers leave and the women are just screaming in the tomb. But one of the people has escaped.
Varna.
And the person who escaped was Varna, yeah. And the soldiers realize that one of their hostages has gotten away, and then they like follow her, but she gets to a zip line. Why was there a random zip line?
Well, like, I mean, you know what? Immediately I was like, random, why is there a zip line? But at the same time, I'm like, what a practical way to get them across that fucking, like, because like what happens is she zip lines across and then somebody arrows her and she is still holding on,
yeah.
But like it like crappily like gets to the other side, and Calidor is there, fucking Schwartzy is there and catches her.
He catches her. And
pulls the arrow out.
We see some sweet sword play happen here where Schwartzy kills the soldiers that have come to take Sonja's sister.
But like I think like this is where I was like, oh, okay, like we're back into like territory where he's like scary and cool. Because like, yeah, because in Destroyer he's so lame. He's so lame when it comes to like fighting and shit. He fucking cuts a dude's head off in this and it just flies out of the scene. Yeah, that was cool. I thought that was awesome because and he's also looking way leaner. He's not even like, he's not as built as he's like cut down almost.
Totally. Schwartzy's told by Varna that they need to destroy that talisman. And you get the feeling early on that he knows some shit about this talisman. So, because he's like way too keen to help these people out. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
I was like,
he's just immediately on board. Like, he's got to know something, right? Sonja is being trained by this Grand Master in this next scene. Oh my god, dude, I love this so much.
Me too.
Because I love all of the inexplicable kind of like powerful wizardry in these kinds of movies. They're just like, yeah, you just see this guy and you're like, of course this man is wise, you know? Like,
but also the funniest thing is, again, we get this. This was a big problem with Conan the Destroyer as well. We get like lines like, "I've taught you all you need to know."
I've taught you much, my little droogie.
And it's like, whoa, dude, what do you mean? Like, we didn't see any of this.
I love that.
Like, we're just like, well, we don't have the budget to show her we don't have the budget to show her spinning a big wheel from her, like, childhood. Therefore, we're gonna, like, just have a line delivered where he's just like, well, yeah.
I want to talk about this next scene. The wizard tells her that she must learn to like men better because her opponent that she was fighting tries to hug her and she recoils. And this is like pretty overacted, but in the best possible way. And the wizard's like, you must learn to like men better. It's this hashtag not all men movement.
But not just that though, like it's cool because it's like she's responding to like what she knows, which is being like, men are scary.
That's true, because she was violated.
She was violated, right?
And yes, she lays the smack down with the Grand Master. Oh my god. I love the line, but in life, all is not swordplay. It was such a good line.
Yeah.
You know, I love swordplay for many reasons, but he tells her that hatred of men in such a lovely young woman could be her downfall. And I'm like, I mean, why? It just seems like weird advice, because then she's like, I don't hate all men, because she means like, oh, I like you. And he's like, if I was 30 years younger. Like, again, he turns it into like this pervy moment. It's like, all right, dude, we get it. Like, you don't need to talk about it. And then they go to this blacksmith area and the Grand Master's like, choose a sword. And she chose a pretty cool fucking looking sword. I love this sword.
Yeah, it was cool. But at the same time, again, there was that like disembodied voice being like, Sonja, like, choose this one. And it's like,
oh,
what?
yeah. And
like,
it never happened again.
It never happens again. It only happens twice in the movie and then just never comes back.
Yeah, that was weird. And Schwartzy arrives at the Grandmaster sword training facility
and is like, your sister's dying.
Your sister's like just bluntly says it.
Yeah,
I wrote that down too. Oh, they go off into the distance on horseback, and I like the music in this movie.
Yeah, I did too.
It was really cool.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
But when they like, they both leave to find the dying sister,
and they arrive at a huge rock sculpture of a ram.
No, but it's like a bunch of. This is where they had like one seemingly actual built like
ram.
Animal sculpture,
yeah.
And like the rest were matte paintings, and like that looked really cool. I thought like this, like that was like the kind of world building I wanted from Destroyer. Like where it's like, absolutely. Oh, this is like cool stuff. This is what this world looks like. Man, people fucking hate this movie. Schwartzy jokes that like if his kids didn't listen to him when they were young, he would make them watch Red Sonja 10 times.
I heard this story too, and he says, consequently, my children were very well behaved.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, you know what? For a kid, and not even for a kid, for an adult,
30-something-year-old man.
I liked this movie. It was fun.
I thought it was cool. Yeah, I had more. I enjoyed watching it more than
Conan the Destroyer. Oh my god.
Yeah,
totally.
The sister explains to Sonja what she needs to do, like her adventure. She's setting up the adventure, like go find this talisman, destroy it. Only women can touch it. Blah blah blah. And then Schwartzy goes, "She's dead.
She's dead.
And the living have work to do," which is such a cool line.
Such a cool line delivered in the worst moment possible. Literally hasn't even been 10 seconds since the sister's been dead. Like, I timed this and he's just like, she's dead. The living have work to do. Like, it's cool that he's including himself in this journey, but it's also like, dude, wait a couple minutes.
But also he like says that he's a mercenary. And he like, this was the other line that I was like, this is what I'm saying. He says that cool line, and then she's like, he says the line, "I'm a friend of your sister, and I'm your friend too," which is such a weird like line. And then all of a sudden there's the line where he's like, "I'm a mercenary. If I think somebody owes me something, I take it," which is really cool.
We've learned from the sister that the talisman has terrible power and that in 13 days, the talisman could destroy the world with storm and earthquake. And Sonja is like, well, where did he go? She asks for all the practical information. Like, where did he go? North or south? Who was it? And I think she just says it was a woman in a gold mask. And that to Sonja sparks the memory of, cutting this woman's face. And then Varma dies, not telling her anything, really, like anything of use, other than that it's, Queen Gedren.
She's dead.
Yeah.
Presumably, we don't even know. It's just a woman in a gold mask. We know nothing. And
then all of a sudden, Red Sonja is like, "Hey, look at that suspicious cloud over there. What town is that?" And somehow Schwartzy knows what town it is.
He knows the town. He says it's called Havelock.
Yeah.
And he says, it's a great city. He's so casual about it. So Schwartzy insists on joining, but she's like, please, just let me do my thing. And he's like, all right, whatever. But he's probably going to follow her because he's weird. In the next scene, we see the devastated city of Havelock. A kid dressed in a bedazzled red outfit is balancing on the fingers of a giant statue. It's a statue of a hand. It's teetering on an edge, and the kid is at risk of falling into, like, I guess, like a crack in the ground.
Mud?
Yeah, boiling mud in a crack in the ground. And there's a guard man who is the kid's servant, and he's holding up the statue of this hand, trying to get the kid to come across. The kid is being insolent as fuck and just not responding well to the man. So the guard, Falcone.
I totally was like Falcone as well.
Yeah, so the kid's guard is named Falcone, and he comes off the statue and introduces the kid. The kid is named Prince Tarn, but I'm going to call him the kid for the entire podcast because he is just the kid in this movie.
But given so much more, like, I was like, oh, a kid. I had that same expectation.
No, you're
but he's
right.
got some fucking cool moves.
He's got some wicked moves. He's got a lot of. He's got way more dialogue than Schwartzy does.
Yeah. Well, Schwartzy's a secondary character made into a way bigger character.
I mean, he's not in a lot of this movie.
No. And it's like, and this kid, I was like he was a dick and he was a brat and he was like a king.
He's lovable.
But he's lovable in a way that's like, and especially when he fucking starts doing moves, dude.
Oh my God.
I was like,
that was honestly,
oh, this is so fucking cool.
Honestly, like, I was really annoyed with the kid in the beginning, but when he starts doing moves.
So wait, my favorite line that he delivers in this scene though is when he gets saved by Sonja, he goes, "Reward her and tell her who I am." That was amazing. That was such a good line.
And he rewards her with a single coin, and she's like, "It looks like you need this more than I do," and gives it back to him. She fully disrespects him through this entire movie.
Are you all right? Yes, Prince. We were just practicing. Then let me down.
Falcone tells Sonja that Queen Gedren has destroyed the city. She knocked the city down with the talisman and demanded their surrender, took all of their coins, all of their money, and the entire army ran away. And, the only thing left of this vast empire that this kid had is like one dude that he's so mean to. He's so mean to Falcone this entire movie.
Yeah, also, who is he gonna rule if his entire fucking city is destroyed? Like, he constantly talks about how much he's gonna be like a ruler, like, in the movie. And
but Falcone is so loyal to him.
So loyal.
But in a way where he's like, it's almost like parental. Like, I've got to take care of this kid's my responsibility.
It's like a paternal thing for sure. It's like, I know this kid forever, and like, I know that I can just push him away and never have to deal with him again. But like, it's like it's his child
for sure. So Red Sonja finds out that she can find Gedren in a place called Burkabane, which I kept thinking Kurt Cobain when I heard it. she's told by Falcone that there's a long way and there's Breitog's toll road.
Was it Breitog or Bytog?
Breitog.
Breitog. Okay.
I'm not gaslighting you. I wrote down specifically. So she's supposed to avoid Breitog because he's got a bit of a reputation with the ladies, if you know what I mean. And by which I mean he uses his toll.
Basically he's like ass, grass, or cash in this situation.
Everything he's totally ass, grass, or
he's
cash.
Fully like immediately as he was like, oh yeah, well if you want to get you know,
so gross.
Just like
he's such a fucking creep.
Yeah, but it's like, but then she says like. She asks him, when I've killed you, will your men let me pass through? I was like, that was so amazing.
And he makes them promise, but they're like, it's not going to happen. But then she fucking kills him, dude.
Yeah.
It's a sweet scene. It's such an intense fight scene.
This is the part of the movie. This is the part of the movie that fully justified the movie to me. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like all the stuff that's like, I mean, like honestly, the amount of shit that both of us have forgiven in a lot worse movies.
Oh, for sure.
But it is like pretty like big in comparison to this. That line, I was like, whoa, that's fucking cool.
Well, and their banter when they're fighting is amazing. He says, I'm going to feed your eyes to the birds. And she says she doesn't need eyes because she can smell him.
Dude, when what's it called? She fucking he like knocks the sword out of her hands and then she fucking picks up that piece of wood that's on fire and is like, then like swoops in to grab the sword again and spins it around. It's so cool. Like she does it so well. And then he goes, I'm gonna see my future in your entrails. And she goes, I know my future, you have none. It's like one-liner after one-liner that's like so awesome.
Really, really skilled writing for sure. I thought it was delightful.
Yeah.
It was so fun to listen to.
I mean, skilled writing, that's fucking hard to say. But like, it's one of those things that like, you could tell that when whoever was writing it was like, this is such a fucking cool line, dude.
Totally. Like, I mean, it's little kid cool for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely little kid cool. But like, what ends up happening is Schwartzy ends up coming in.
He arrives to save her, I guess, because he's been following her. And he starts chopping everyone and gives her just enough freedom to grab the key, run away, and go like, towards
I'll hold them back. But like the fun, this is where like the wackiness starts too, because at one point he like knocks this thing over on the people and is like, ha! And I love the Schwartzy ha, because it's like he so takes good. so much delight in being like, I've vanquished you, and it's like, it's wacky, but again, it fits way more than in Destroyer.
Well, the wackiness for me continues in the next scene because suddenly the kid is there. And she left before the kid. Like, she's on a mission.
There? Yeah.
She's on a mission. Like, of course she's going to be faster than the kid. How did the kid get there before her and is being pulled apart? Like, all we know is Breitog's passing or the long way. And they didn't take the long way. So I was like, okay, whatever. But I love it, so saves it for me, this torture method that's being used by these vagrants.
You wrote vagrants and I wrote hooligans. Two outrageously specific words. And I knew. I was like, I put hooligans thinking like he's gonna say something that's to this degree.
I also thought of vagabonds.
Oh, totally. And like they're torturing the kid by having horses on each limb pull like rope tied to each limb. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, dude. Like, and they're holding the kid up too. Like four PAs are holding that kid. And it's like, whoa, dude, this kid must have been like feeling this. Like, this hurts. You have to hold, like, in order to hold a person up like that, you have to actually pull really hard.
100%. So Sonja saves this kid again. This time from these vagabonds, and Falcone,
woo, I came to bring this to you.
Like, just jumps in out of nowhere. Where was he? Like, why was he gone?
I don't know.
Oh, they explain it. Sorry. They explain it because he says he went to get some berries or something and left the kid for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. But this is where like when fucking Sonja saves him again, this is where we first get introduced to his moves. Cause he's like, he pulls out his fucking tiny sword and is just like fucking ninjaing like people. And I was like, whoa, dude, like this is awesome.
This was the moment where I got total respect for the kid and like wasn't at all thinking of it through the lens of like, oh God, it's going to be an annoying kid that does one thing this entire movie. This kid really acts very well.
He acts the shit out of the movie. Like
absolutely.
He
like I would
really
say that
good
he
job.
steals the show actually.
Yeah. Like I would say he steals the show in the sense that like, I mean, he basically has the most dialogue, no?
I would say so.
He's just so charming.
Dude, Queen Gedron arrives at her fortress, and the entrance of the fortress is one of those rolling doors. And I love the rolling doors because it's another one of those things that the 80s thought was going to happen all the time. When have you ever seen a rolling door?
I mean, yeah, dude.
I just wanna rolly with a...
They go inside. This
Into
scene
the
looks
candle room?
great. Oh my God. Visually, this movie is amazing. They go into the Chamber of Lights, it's called. And this Chamber of Lights is supposed to feed the talisman with energy because I guess putting it in darkness, it makes it not function. So giving it light makes it even stronger.
I was super down with this explanation.
Me too. Yeah.
Like, especially
I didn't need any more.
When Eichel is like, we don't need this many lights, and she's
Yes.
like, no, we need more lights.
Yes.
I was like super down because like there's like a lot of interesting setup for later in the movie, like the amount of power that this thing has.
Yes.
And like I just the fact that she's like so consumed with this like that type of power and
Yes,
like the
like total domination.
like into the sort of destructiveness of it and like flirting with like yes this is what I want, this is what I need, and like this guy who's like clearly a scumbag like being like, whoa dude, like
We're gonna build the wall. We have no choice.
oh like no, you're gonna destroy you, like chill out, you know what I mean?
Dude, the next scene has we always love puppets.
Oh man, the crappy spider puppet.
It's a puppy!
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Where it kind of is like rotating and like the legs are moving, but it's like rotating in place, like a man's hand is underneath. Yes. And like this wizard fucking pulls out like, what is it? Just a giant TV that he's like making have images on it.
It's a view screen, and he uses.
Oh man, dude, you putting it like that, I was like, what am I supposed to call this? I can't think of anything else but a TV, a view screen. Perfect.
It's a view screen, but he uses potions to create the images.
I was like, whoa, dude, can you fucking get Netflix on this thing?
Says you want a Netflix and chill.
Oh my God, I love the explanation of potions.
Potions. Oh yeah, dude. Oh man, where the fuck are my apps? I mean, my potions.
I think that this scene is really telling because there's a woman belly dancing. She's topless.
That was cool.
And you know what? I thought that they all kind of roll their eyes at this happening because I guess they're getting like an interference in imagery. They're not getting the image they want.
Yeah, the app is freaking out.
Yeah.
It needs to be updated.
Hi, this is John from Gadget Road, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can upgrade the apps on an Android smartphone.
I think that this was maybe erotic imagery that Queen Gedron was viewing because she's
She was
a
looking
lesbian.
at porn.
Yeah, she was.
She was like, "Oh, sorry, don't think about that."
She was clearing her browser history. Yeah.
Hello, Smithers. You're quite good at turning me on.
You probably should ignore that.
And okay, the costuming of the potions guy I wanted to talk about because I thought he looked amazing.
Oh yeah.
He has a handlebar mustache, long, really long, like drag queen black nails, and faded pastel green and orange outfit with a headpiece.
This is something that actually I wanted to bring up earlier, but like the amount of like sort of like, I guess in the most non-racist way I can say this, but like the Oriental imagery.
The Oriental imagery, yes.
Like him being like sort of Fu Manchu-y. There's like dragon imagery. There's a lot of like robes that are like silky,
like
bright,
traditionally seen in this like kind of stereotypical,
like quote unquote Oriental, like
exactly,
like,
yes.
That's in the movie is like kind of fascinating. Really like racist and also interesting that it pivoted into that direction, given the fact that like Conan is sort of much more, I guess, like a weird combination of like that kind of mysticism mixed with like almost like caveman imagery.
Yeah. So we see, the Grandmaster is an Asian guy who's dressed in very kind of like stereotypically sort
also
of like Oriental
Fu Manchu.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah.
And, we always see this like positioning of like someone being magical and giving wisdom, which is like always a racist trope.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that kind of like almost like the noble savage thing too, where it's like the nice kind of racism.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, he's smart, or oh, he's magical and wise. But like why I like mentioned the like barbarian thing from Conan, that imagery, is that it weirdly does seem like a natural evolution. Like oh, this is how a modern society is in like the world of Conan.
For sure. Eichel is able to dismiss the arrival of the Prince, Falcone, and Sonja because he's just like, oh, they're insects, like they're insignificant, they can't do anything to our massive strength and empire. But then the Queen
also have the talisman, right? So it's
exactly. The Queen notices Sonja and she's like, I want her delivered without a scratch, because she's like, she survived the fire, here's round 2, I want her.
Round 2, fight.
The Queen says they'll wait to intercept them until they've come a little bit closer. And so they decide to kind of all along the way of the journey of our heroes set up these kind of traps for them to get stuck or to like do basically what they want.
Do you know what's funny about the Eichel character?
I loved Eichel.
When Eichel is like, she's like, I want her delivered without a scratch. He's like, yeah, I mean, yeah. But if she does, right? Like, well, yeah, it's fine. Like, it was weird the like amount of justification that he went through to be like, well, I mean, like, I don't have to do extra work. Like if she comes back like pragmatic dead, about it, yeah. Well, like that's cool, right? And she's like, no, it's not cool. Like,
dude, in the next scene, we see this beautiful matte painting of a unicorn whale, it looks like, but then in the next scene you see that it has long legs. So I was thinking that maybe in my headcanon this could be the alien that comes in Arrival, the really tall long
like
legs,
spindly legged. Except this was a better movie than Arrival.
Yeah, I would say it was a better movie than Arrival.
Yeah, like the bone bridge thing.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was really beautiful looking.
I thought that was so cool looking. What I didn't like was what does Bridget Nielsen, Sonja, having to test this bridge have to do with anything? Like, why is it just showing her being like cautious? Like, what point did this have?
Yeah, it didn't really show anything about a character. I guess like whatever.
Like, you're already crossing a whalebone bridge. Like, we know it's, gonna be pretty solid.
Again, I think that this was, given the fact that it lingered so heavily on that wide, and you see her like in this like her small like crossing, it's like, oh, like this is for the budget. This is like, oh, we paid for this, I want to see it. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed like that.
That's fair.
Because like at that point they also like play out this whole thing where Falcone is disrespected again by the kid, and she like pulls him on his pulls Prince Tarn on her knee to like
she's gonna spank him, and then Falcone shows his massive dedication to this kid, and he's like, what does he say? It's an epic line.
She says fuck, I forget what the line is. But he like is like, don't hurt him, hurt me instead. And she's like, you can learn from Falcone to have self-sacrifice. And like that I thought was an interesting thing, because like at that point, Falcone is really he is really put in this like, oh, he's the funny one.
Right.
He's like the dumb guy. But like in that moment, you're like, oh, like she like really respects this dude. Like
totally.
He's like,
and he's a respectable guy.
He is a respectable guy. He gets a lot, like he has a lot of very specific character development throughout the entire movie, where it's like you see him as like kind of an oaf because he's treated like an oaf.
Absolutely.
And then he like grows into this like really interesting like fighter, like because he has to know how to fight.
Yeah,
like of course
he's
and, like,
protecting a prince.
Yeah, he's given context through like images.
And
which
dude,
is
we haven't talked about his weapon, which is a huge bone.
Yeah. That was cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
So in the next scene, I thought initially that they were right at the entrance of the fortress, and I was like, why did they go to sleep now? But they aren't. They still have a ways to go. And so they're sleeping. And Sonja wakes up and she sees the kid practicing sword play, and she finds it endearing. So she wants to teach the kid, and she first comments on the fact that like she like makes a like a snide remark where she's like, I thought princes didn't need to learn things or practice things. Right. She really wants to take this kid down a peg because he's very arrogant, and she, I guess, sees potential of, you know, like a good human being in him.
Yeah, to teach him.
Yeah.
And she does, but like it's a hilarious scene because the way it plays out is like, oh, you're doing this wrong. And she teaches him like one thing and then is like, well, time for bed. And it's like, wait, I thought you were going to fucking teach him.
But then his very sweet moment turns into kind of a like little perverted moment where he's like, I'm going to touch you. You're beautiful and I'm going to make you my queen. And I know they're playing it for like, you know, like, oh, it's cute. He just thinks he's going to make her a queen and he has this power and he doesn't. But it is a little bit like, okay, kid, like shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
I guess. But it's like, I would say it's justified because of the fact that he's like, it's a kid, right?
It's just a kid? Okay.
It's just a kid.
I'd be down with that. I mean, she does very much like cut him down and doesn't indulge him in his fantasies at all.
Yeah.
Which is great because she's really putting him in his place. The queen calculates that if they reach the Ithian cavern by tomorrow, that they can kind of trap them there with a storm that they're going to create using the talisman. And then, you know, she concludes that the killing machine will take care of them. And Eichel is kind of in charge of programming this killing machine, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that what we're led to believe?
I think so.
And he's, again, such a dick because she's like, so I don't want Sonja harmed, and he's like, well, you know, the killing machine does what it does. I don't know, like he might kill her.
And the implication is that the killing machine is the like robot, right?
Yeah, that's
right.
the killing machine. Okay. Yeah, the robot dragon that we see later,
also
swimming like, in water. So cool. Why is the robot in water?
But like, is it like an AI or something? Because it like it's so weird. So they get to this cave.
Yes. And there's a huge storm that's being fabricated by the talisman.
Yeah. So they're being like edged into this trap. Falcone and
the kid.
Tarn. Yeah. The kid. Yeah. I'm just going to say the kid. Tarn like go deeper into the cave and like get into this like pool of water. And the kid, like having been set up as kind of like this bratty, like young guy, sees a pearl in a dragon's mouth, right? And like he forces Falcone to try and like pull it out, and he pulls it out, and it sets off this trap.
Yeah, where water starts
filling up the cave,
yes,
or like the
at an alarming rate.
Yeah. And this like fucking monster dragon, like eel thing that's metal, which is so cool. And this is the funny thing, is that this scene is in my memory as the ending of Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah, so we have to talk about a phenomenon that's called Serbian movies. So not movies that are in Serbian, but movies that were shown so much in Serbia.
Yeah.
And Red Sonja was shown so much in Serbia. And so I remember going there on summer vacations and being like, oh, like Red Sonja is just a movie that happens all the time here.
Yeah.
So I remember that movie very much from Serbia. And Anna, I was talking to Anna before about this, and she was like, oh yeah, like we watch that movie all the time.
All the time. And not just that, but like the thing that I found out later in life, like relatively recently, was that like, you know, budgets were low. Like the implication is we can afford basically a Schwartzy movie, like a big budget, like movie.
Yeah, they could afford the rights
to show that movie, and then we'd get our Van Dammes and we'd get our fucking
Steven Seagals, which is why Steven Seagal now has Serbian citizenship.
But not just that, but like why we both of us, and like I'm talking specifically like in my mind, like why would we get these like weird B movies, like Mickey Rourke movies? Like I saw like things like Johnny Handsome there, and like Star 80 with Eric Roberts, like people who were like at the end of their like peak career into like B movie territory, and it was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This fucking dragon looks so cool. It's the second puppet of the movie, and I'm all in on the puppets in this movie.
For sure.
He's a puppy.
Sonja gets smacked in the face by this killing machine and knocked the fuck out, and Schwartzy shows up, and the way he fights this thing is so fucking cool. Who says, is it Falcone that says stab its eyes out?
I don't know. I think it's actually Red Sonja, but like she figures out that like it can see, and that like the only way to stop it is to like pull its eyes out. But like the sound that the monster makes
Shrieking?
is so scary.
Yes.
Like it's so scary, and when it pulls the eye out, well, it's like, it makes a scary sound. It's like, whoa, dude, this is so fucking cool. Also, Schwartzy says, I can't kill it. It's a machine, which is such a hilarious line.
Machines!
So we get a pretty big bombshell of exposition in this next scene after Schwartzy's given Sonja the sex eyes for treating his wound. Schwartzy cares so much about helping Sonja because he has been entrusted by the priestesses to oversee the treatment of the talisman, and he's a high lord.
Yeah, you get a lot of context for why he's good friends with Sonja's sister.
Yeah,
why he considers her a friend. This was like a pretty, like, I was like, oh, okay, like this justifies so much of the weirdness at the beginning of the movie. Like, not like, it was nice to not have things explained to you right at the beginning and see it happen, as opposed to just like, oh yeah, like we'll explain it later or whatever when there's a quiet moment.
She asks him why he didn't say anything sooner, and he says, you didn't seem to want a man's help.
I wrote that down too.
But you needed it. So he followed her. I mean, yeah, like, you know, it's lines like this in this movie that I'm like, okay, like, where it's like it really kind of, all of the like progress it makes with some of the like feminist stuff that it does, it kind of takes it back. It's like, we need each other. I mean, I get it. It's like all lives matter sort of argument. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think so. I'm going to give it a little bit more credit.
Okay.
I understand. But I do think that thinking about it in a gender reversed way,
right,
doesn't like set those alarm bells off. You know what I mean? And I think that like she's given enough to do, and he's so much of a side character that the next scene, when we like we're given that line, we're brought right back to like feminist idea by her being like, I'm not gonna be with a person who like can't defeat me or can't be equal to me, because she is set up as more powerful than Schwartzy.
That's true. That's true.
She is.
And he never actually beats her.
No, they have that fucking epic fucking fight scene.
It's the best fight of the movie because it's charged with this kind of sexual tension.
Totally. And not just that, they fight each other not to win. They just get tired.
Exactly.
And that was amazing because like they're fighting in the woods. And like at one point the kid jumps in too, almost like
to protect
her, but almost like a son barging in on his parents having sex and then being like, "We're just playing, we're just practicing."
And then the kid has the great line of saying, "Why does she fight so hard? She doesn't want to win."
And
implying that not only Schwartzy is thirsty, but Sonja is as well.
But not just that too. It's implying that she's also letting him win.
Right.
And
yeah, exactly.
And it's cool because the way the fight ends is that
they collapse on a tree.
Like against the tree, opposite sides of each other. Like that was just like interesting imagery, like cool stuff. Like I just felt like that whole scene was like, I don't know, doesn't get the movie itself. I feel doesn't get the credit that it's due. I feel like it's a better movie than people are giving it credit for.
I think so too. You know that famously, this is another How Did You Guess?
How did you guess?
Maria Shriver was sitting in the theater at the premiere with Schwartzy, and she told him, if your career could survive this, it could survive anything.
Totally. Also, Brigitte Nielsen and Arnold Schwarzenegger had an affair during this movie.
That was my last How Did You Guess?
How did you guess?
Can I just say, oh man, because fully Sylvester Stallone had sex with her too. Do you think they might have had a threesome? That would be amazing.
Oh my god, threesome with Schwartzy and Sylvester Stallone with Brigitte Nielsen. That'd be amazing.
That'd be amazing. I'm sure it happened. I'm just gonna say it happened.
Let's go on the assumption that
meme happened. Put that meme out there.
So they arrive at the rolly door.
I just wanna rolly with a
the rolly door. And the kid is convinced to stay outside. This was sweet because they kind of make him think it's his idea to stay outside because they want to keep him safe, right?
Yeah.
And so everyone else, including Falcone, decides to scale this building and go up to the top and enter down this tube. So not before Sonja kisses the kid.
But I just, that's the thing. Like I really wanted to like just like harp on that for a moment, just because like they really do. It does feel like a family.
Yeah,
it does feel like they are set up and they do have arcs, and like that. I thought that scene was great, where they're like, oh, only like the strongest people need to protect us while we're inside, and Schwartzy's just like, yeah, I'd rather be fucking inside than out here, right? And like stuff like that. And she like kisses him for his bravery, and like, yeah, sure, it's a little bit like sex as reward or whatever, but like it's a nice moment, it's a sweet moment.
For sure. No, I think it was more, I don't think it was like sex. I think maybe the kid interprets it that way, but that's how they play it.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
It's also just her being very tender towards the kid and like them having a genuine moment, which I really loved because the kid, is shown as knowing that, he's not going to get with Sonja, and he kind of like, they show that he kind of realizes it, but he never admits it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fortress is lightly falling apart because the talisman is too strong, and Eichel is freaking out and trying to convince the queen that they must bury it into the dark. And he's like, what do you want? We have so much gold. And she just wants to take over the world. She wants to be the queen of everything.
This was also really beautiful. It was like a beautiful dovetail of what we were saying earlier, where it's like she's like so power hungry, and it's her downfall. Like she has her own arc, and like it's visualized through the fact that like the building is collapsing.
Yes.
And it's like she's still like no. It's almost like Gollum in fucking Lord of the Rings, where it's like, no, my precious.
Why does he cry, sweet?
It has to be like, no, it has to be like, or even like, what's her name? Also another Indiana Jones in Last Crusade, when the
Junior
lady is trying to grab the what is it called again? Fuck. Oh my god.
The chalice?
No, it's fucking Jesus' fucking cup. What the fuck is it called?
Jesus is 2 girls, 1 cup.
Well, it's just called Jesus' 2 girls, 1 cup.
Oh my god. Well, it's called the chalice, but it's called not the ark. That's part 1.
It doesn't matter. It's so fucking late. Let's
For centuries, knights, poets, and mystics have searched for a magical vessel called the Holy Grail.
the cup of grace. Go.
Oh my god. This
so
is
tired,
awful.
dude.
So I'm gonna leave this whole conversation in.
Yeah.
I love Ickle in this part because he's like, this is madness. There will be no world.
Oh my god.
And yeah, it's a chilly line, man. Like, that's a chilly fucking line. You're like, holy shit, this guy's scared. And so he grabs all the gold he can and leaves, and she clasps the throne and starts laughing maniacally. I thought she was like the worst overactor in this movie.
She was such a bad actor.
Yeah.
Like by the end, like it's like they set up this like cool character, and then like she has her like lines, and I was
and
like,
you see too
"Whoa,
much of her,
dude,
you're like, oh.
you're terrible."
Yeah, I really didn't like her acting. Contrasted with Red Sonja's acting, which was pretty fucking great.
Yeah, Brigitte Nielsen did a really good job.
Oh, she was amazing.
And she has an accent, right? Like, I'm pretty sure she has an accent. For some reason, I always thought it was a thicker accent than that, but...
I was going to talk about her accent too. It really like was cool that they created these worlds in the 80s where, you know, it's like this mythological place and you sort of can kind of believe that an accent just happened because maybe this is what English developed like here. You know what I mean?
Maybe Austrian accents were the standard.
Exactly.
I don't know. Like when the interesting thing that I found about this movie too is that like the side quests were a little more compelling than the actual like narrative itself. Like it's one of those things that like I can obviously like I can tell why people thought this was not a good movie, but I don't know. It felt like enough of it was justified to be like, yeah.
Well,
like,
are you talking about when Falcone falls down that tube onto the table and breaks the table in half and the guards are eating and he makes some line about like what are you guys eating or how's the food around here, he says, and he bites into this cartoonishly large drumstick and then just starts smashing everyone.
Yeah, dude.
And Schwartzy joins him by jumping onto the table and catapulting him into the air.
Yeah, I was down. I was down with all of Falcone's fighting.
To see about you and your crew and what you guys are gonna do.
I was down with that as like, again, like character stuff for him. Because you find out that he is a cool fighter.
And it's played for like comedy, like kid kind of comedy, this fighting, except for when Schwartzy chops a guy's arm off. That was so
dude.
brutal.
Yeah, that was like really brutal.
Oh, Eichel's trying to escape, and then he runs into the kid, and he's like got no time for this kid. He's like, he treats him so disrespectfully. He's just like, what are you gonna do? Like, he's like, what the fuck are you gonna do? But the kid like fights back, and then he chops his gold coins, and then he's like, oh shit, stuff's actually happening, and then accidentally tosses the sword into this like lever, and it closes in the roly door.
Yeah.
I just wanna rolly with a
on Eichel, and he gets crushed.
And he's like terrified. He plays it so well. I love this actor.
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
I don't know.
He did such a good job.
I don't think I've ever seen him. Ronald Lancey is his name. But yeah, like he fully gets crushed by the door and he's fully committed to dying under that door.
Like I felt like you could see all of the individual parts hurting as he was getting crushed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah,
it felt like he escalated it appropriately.
Also, another 80s thing of getting crushed by things. Like either getting smushed in a like a trap where the walls are closing in on you, or getting smushed by a door. Like Indiana Jones also had a scene where the door is closing. I have to save my hat.
So the kid, being the little rookie that he is, jumps into the fortress and starts searching for Queen Gedrin to, get his own revenge. And he runs into a woman the woman from the beginning that Gedren made touch the talisman. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
And she's pretending she's scared to lure the kid in, and then Gedren like takes the kid. Nothing looks more evil than a grown ass human like putting a knife to a neck of a like much smaller, younger being.
I'm so happy with my evil plan.
You know what I mean?
It's true. It's true.
Like nothing looks so sinister.
The thing I wanted to point out about this is, again, this happens sort of like throughout the movie as like various plot points are supposed to happen. How did that woman know that the kid was going to come in and she was supposed to set this trap? Were they just like waiting around to be like, help me to some random person? Or were they specifically waiting for do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like stuff like that. That's like, oh, this, I mean, it didn't pull me out of the movie.
No,
it's
not
just
at all.
like one of those things that like, again, shit just like happens in the movie and you're just supposed to like go with it, you know?
The end sequence of this movie, like the last act of this movie, is incredible for me.
Yeah.
Like it's so compelling all the way, so fun to watch all the way through.
Totally.
It's such a movie for kids, and it brought out such a kid-like delight in me.
Do you know what kind of fantasy it reminded me of? It reminded me of
like Willow.
You're a great warrior and a swordsman. And you're 10 times bigger than I am, stupid.
Willow, or like Neverending Story.
Yeah.
Because like there's some darkness in Neverending Story that never gets quite dark.
That's true.
And then like this seems like it takes it like that kind of far, where it's like darkness in the gremlin realm of kids horror movie type thing, or darker than even Goonies or like things like that, you know?
For sure. Because there's still some gruesome shit that happens in this movie. It's toned down, but you know, there's some like heads get chopped off.
Yeah, dude.
So let's get
arms
to that.
Get chopped off. But also the wizard makes what's her name? Gedren, like disappear crappily and reappear crappily multiple times. I
love this so much.
Dude.
I laughed so much because it was the same cutting technique from the beginning of just
for sure. Yeah.
They disappear. Oh, I love the.
But like the funny thing was that weirdly anticlimactic.
It was anticlimactic because,
like, not in a bad way,
dude. Something happens that I love so much. So when Sonja notices that it's the potions wizard making Sonja disappear, or making Gedren disappear and reappear in other places, she goes and chops his head off. And then Gedren just runs away.
Yeah,
did you notice that?
Totally.
I loved it so much.
It's interesting.
Because she's just like, oh shit, I have nothing protecting me anymore.
Yeah, totally. And then the floor cracks open, and what's it called? Like some like rubble falls on the kid, and like,
wait, no. She runs to the Chamber of Lights to get as close to the talisman as possible because she wants to be around her energy source.
Yeah.
And just before the gate closes in, Sonja rolls through and makes it into the chamber just in time. And then Sonja has a battle with her where they're like sword fighting and everything's falling apart in this chamber. And then Schwartzy and Falcone arrive with the kid and pull the gate up just enough for the kid to get in. Then the kid runs in and a big earthquake happens because the talisman has gotten way too powerful, splits the ground open and throws a bookcase down onto, is it a bookcase?
Something falls on him to trap him underneath.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the kid's trapped and Sonja is just kicking ass, like whipping this sword and cutting the sword in half finally until Gedren is left completely defenseless. And then she just falls into the lava.
Yeah. I was down. I was super down. Because
I like anticlimactic things like this because like the movie's pretty epic on its own. So I don't know if I need a big climactic boss ending.
For sure,
you know?
For sure. I felt like a little bit like it went on a little too long after that.
Well, right, because Sonja then just also throws the talisman into the lava.
Yeah.
And we get this elaborate escape scene before the epilogue that I was like,
Okay. Yeah, where it's like constantly cutting back to the like top of the building exploding, but it's like where were they?
Yeah,
like there's so much fucking like lava exploding out of the top of the building that it's like, wait, wouldn't it be going through the entire fucking thing?
I agree. It's just like lava jizzing out of the ground.
It's as satisfying to me as coming is.
And like then it's like a very thick stream at the end. It's like, whoa, how is this not splashing all over the place?
That was cool though. I liked the way that looked. But yeah, it was just like constantly exploding at the end. And then we get the nice little epilogue where they're like, where like Schwartzy is just like, yo, dude, like, let's have a battle. Let's see if we could do this. And
I was really on board for this ending.
Me too.
So I wanted to ask you, in line with our sort of feminist reading of this movie, do you think that Queen Gedren was punished for being a lesbian? Like, do you think that Queen Gedren was ultimately punished for not following like patriarchal
social norms or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Like for me, like having not, I mean, I don't know. I didn't get that at the beginning, so I'm sort of ill-equipped to think about it in that way.
But having heard me mention it, because she does say at the end when before she's being killed, we could have ruled together.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like that stuff.
Like, how did you not get?
No. That
right.
Let me clarify. What confused me about the initial like talking about it was the sort of thing of like, she wanted her from the beginning.
Right.
That's the thing.
But wanted her for what? What did you think she wanted her for?
No, but that's the thing. That I didn't get from the movie. I either didn't hear it or whatever. So like the only lesbian context I had was at the end where she was like, we could have ruled together. That I thought was just like interesting and cool. But here's the thing that we're gonna cover, I think, in the Predator movie.
Sure.
And it's a sort of reading of a lot of like villains as just like de facto other, as opposed to like what we get. Right. And like, because I think that there is a value in interpreting it in the way that you're saying. I just don't know how like active it might have been.
Well, on the other hand, on the other side of that, it is a woman participating in this like fight with another woman, right? Like it's like they're the two main characters. The main kind of like good and evil signifiers.
She's also never really given, like, you can also, if we're gonna go like deep and say, the only person that I would ever be with is somebody that could defeat me or be an equal to me. It's not like she's being specific in that moment. You know what I mean? She seems like she goes fucking every which way. You know what I mean? She's like an actualized character throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of actualized characters, I'm gonna give you one. How did you guess?
How did you guess?
Sure.
That I'm gonna like throw out there that like, who do you think would have been cast of 80s ladies in this movie?
Sharon Stone?
No.
I don't know.
Fucking Sigourney Weaver was considered.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Whoa.
Which like, legit, like,
that would have been so cool.
It would have been cool.
I would have been down. Oh my God. That would have been amazing, actually. Dude, my how did you guess for the end right now?
How did you guess?
Is that this movie flopped at the box office. The budget was 20 million and it made 6.
Whoa, dude. That's pretty bad. I mean, I knew it flopped, but like, whoa, dude.
The Conan the Destroyer was a hit. Like, it was bigger than Conan the Barbarian.
That's probably but that's probably why they made this movie.
Right. That's the only way he could have gotten it.
And how they got this like fucking money.
Yeah. Do you think Schwartzy took a pay cut in this movie?
No, why would he take a pay cut? He thought he had a small role.
Right.
I'm sure they were like, oh, dude, like, come on. And he was like, no. And then like he was like, oh, why did I get these extra scenes?
Oh, you think he was like annoyed?
Apparently they like fully like cut him into the movie.
Really?
Like they filmed extra stuff around him, like different angles that they could be like, oh, we'll shoot in this scene because it's similar to this one so that we could cut him in. And it's like, whoa, dude, like that's fucking skeezy shit. That's like, what's it called? Crispin Glover like being edited into Back to the Future Part 2.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, you, get your damn hands off.
I was going to say,
that's like scumbag behavior.
So I enjoyed this movie. I thought the production was...
How many Schwartzys? That's what you need to do.
I mean, I was tiptoeing around this. This gets 6.5 Schwartzys for me. 6.5 because I think Schwartzy is very Schwartzy in this, in a good way. But, you know, he's not in it a lot. So, like... And it's not, I wouldn't even go as far as calling this a Schwartzy movie. Even though, well, I mean, no, sorry.
Top billing, dude. Like, I know. Are you kidding? No, it's fully a Schwartzy movie.
No,
he's
sorry.
He's in it for at least a third of the movie.
It's a Schwartzy movie for sure. Any movie with Schwartzy in it is a Schwartzy movie. But it's, you know.
I can't wait till The Rundown. I don't think you're going to say that when we watch The Rundown.
Oh my God, dude. I can't wait.
Sean William Scott has sex with a monkey in The Rundown, dude.
Oh my God, really?
Schwartzy says, have fun in that movie, dude.
This movie gets a 6.5 also star rating for me.
But if I did an actual... Schwartzy, if I did an actual like fuck like if I actually wanted to like do this out of Schwartzy's, I would give it like a 4 out of 10. I would chastise you for not giving it enough, but I would fully give this like a 3.5, dude.
Okay.
Out of 10 Schwartzies.
Cool. But thank you for your honest, I think that was your first honest rating.
But it is my first honest rating, but as a movie, I would fully give this a 6.5. When people would actually give this a 3 out of 10.
No, I disagree. I give it a 6.5.
And the reason I give it a 6.5 isn't because of Schwartzy. That's like a bombshell.
Exactly.
It's like if somebody else was in this role, I feel like it like maybe wouldn't have...
Russell? Blew your mind. I blew your mind.
Whoa. But I get, like, I don't see him as like tall, but that's an interesting choice.
Okay.
I'm interested.
Well, yeah.
I just did it like a weird Robert De Niro move where I was like...
Yeah, you definitely did a Robert De Niro face. Dude, next movie is Commando. Oh my God. We're in such prime Schwartzy territory.
Dude, I'm so excited.
How excited are you about Commando?
I'm so excited to talk about how like a random kind of saggy dude is gonna fucking find Schwartzy.
Please don't talk anymore about it.
Don't talk about that saggy dude that he fights. Like at least that giant black dude in fucking Conan the Destroyer is like somebody that can physically intimidate somebody else. Or like the fucking guy who was 7'1" in Predator. And it's just like, whoa, dude. Whoa, these guys are real fucking giants.
And the guy he fights in Commando.
The guy he fights in Commando is such like a saggy normal guy, dude.
He looks like just like the most regular dad ever.
Yeah,
which is fine.
He's just got a mustache, and he's like wearing that outrageous outfit, like and those fingerless gloves, dude. Those biker leather fingerless gloves, dude.
He looks great. That's the thing. He looks great, but it's also like, man, I really don't believe that you could fight Schwartzy. I really don't believe it.
No, especially not the like movie version of Schwartzy. Like it's one thing to fight a muscly dude. It's another thing to fight a fucking action hero guy. And fucking, oh my God. I totally forgot that another thing we love, fucking Dan Hedaya is in Commando, dude.
It's cold outside and you need to bring a sweater unless you're Dan Hedaya.
Hairy shoulders that only can compare to mine, Dan Hedaya.
Dude, I think the only person that I've ever seen in my life that matches Dan Hedaya's shoulder hair is you.
It's me. Oh, it's totally me.
But he has the like,
You don't even have
I have
as
a
much shoulder hair.
No, dude, I have a shoulder patch. I have like one patch on one side. You have like sweater. You have like sweater vest Alex.
Whoa, dude. All right.
Thank you so much for listening to Schwartzy.